the 46th episode of the Handmade by Lorelei podcast, and I'm Lorelei. You can find me on social media, Instagram and Ravelry. I'm Lorelei Erdo, and I have an Etsy store, which is loreleierdojewelry.etsy.com, where I sell my handmade jewelry, and I have a website, which is loreleierdojewelry.com. And this is a crafty podcast. As I mentioned, I'm a jewelry designer living in upstate New York, where I live with my husband and my 2 cats. And I am pretty crafty and dabble in fiber arts such as knitting, and then also some sewing, and of course my job of jewelry. So, welcome if you're a brand new viewer. I hope that whatever I am talking about today will interest you and keep you coming back. If you like what you see, go ahead and click subscribe so that you know when I upload new videos. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's so nice to see you. I have a little bit of administrative stuff to begin this episode with. I'm going to start with that. Then I have a couple of finished objects to show you. I will have 3 works in progress to show you, and a couple of acquisitions, and then I'm going to save my life stuff for the end of the episode. So to get started, I'm going to be talking about the Rhinebeck Scavenger Hunt 2017. That's right, a scavenger hunt. I am collaborating with my Rhinebeck roommates, and we are going to be hosting as a group a scavenger hunt while we're at the Rhinebeck Wool and Sheep Festival in Rhinebeck, New York, which is next month. So, if this sounds like something you might want to participate in, which I hope you will want to, I suggest that you follow all of us on Instagram and our YouTube channels, because those are the places where you're going to see clues pop up. Like I was saying, I will go ahead and post their handles here so that you know where to find them. These are their Instagram handles. And from there, you can probably find links in their profiles to their coordinating podcasts. So, like I was saying, we're going to be posting clues in both of those places. And what you're going to do is collect the clues that you're seeing from all of us and keeping track of them on a sheet of paper. And then after Rhinebeck, we'll let you know how to submit your list of clues to enter, and we'll be picking the winners from the collaborative list. The winners are going to win swag and possibly goodies from the Rhinebeck show. We're going to be buying our prizes while we're at the show. So this way, even if you can't make it to the Rhinebeck show, we want to include you, and this is gonna be a fun way to do that. I hope you're as excited about it as I am. It's gonna be a blast. So like I said, keep track of all of us on Instagram and YouTube, and we'll all be talking about this leading up to Rhinebeck, so you'll be able to see many more details about this whole shindig, but I just wanted to mention it now so you have some time to prepare yourselves. It's gonna be fun. Speaking of Rhinebeck, I am gonna be there, obviously, and I've decided to go down a day early. Usually I would go down and meet Nancy, aka Round Rabbit, at the show on Saturday morning, and we would spend one night at a hotel and leave on Sunday afternoon after we've gone back to the Rhinebeck show a second time. This time though, I'm going into town on Friday because there's going to be a few of my roommates staying at our Airbnb on Friday night, and who doesn't need one extra night of fun at Rhinebeck? And also, I wanted to attend the Indie Untangled show, which is a little indie dyers extravaganza that is held at, I believe, the Best Western. I could be wrong. Let me just put the details here so that you can show up, because I've volunteered to help the lovely and talented Maria Tusken of Tusken Knits in her booth. So I will be there greeting people and helping Maria check her customers out, and I would love to see all of y'all. So please stop by and say hi. Plus, Maria's yarn is fantastic, and you're gonna want some. I know it. So moving right along to my finished objects of this week. First thing I want to show you is some socks, and I don't have sock blockers yet. Eventually, it is something I'm going to invest in, but I don't have sock blockers yet, but I plan on getting some. So until then, I have to show you socks like this. I know this is not. Now these have been worn a few times, so they're a little bit wonky. This yarn is some of the best sock yarn I've ever used. It's amazing. It's barnyardknits.com. Go there. Barnyard Knits. This is her merino nylon fingering sock yarn. It's under the sock yarn option. She has many different bases, beautiful colorways. This particular one is called Winterberry, and as soon as I saw it on Instagram, I had been stalking her shop for it, and it's one of those popular colorways that tends to sell out. I believe she does have some in her shop at the moment, so if you're interested in this, head on over. This is just a regular old vanilla sock. I knit this toe up, and I knit the foot and the body and the leg of the sock using my 9-inch circular needles. But for the cast on of the toe, I did magic loop, and I also did magic loop for the heel as well. I did my preferred heel, which is a heel flap and gusset. This is the Sockmatician's recipe for this, and I'm still trying to figure out how to avoid that little bit of a hole there, and it seems like it's worse on just one side than the other. I don't know why. And for the cuff, just to add a little interest, before I got to the ribbing, I did a little purl row. And it just adds just a little bit of interest there. I don't know. I'm just trying out new things. And 2x2 rib. And then I did the Sockmatician's preferred bind off also for the bind off. And I just have to say, this yarn, oh, it is so soft. It is so soft. And the color is like just so consistent and beautiful. There's no pooling. The speckles are fantastic. And actually, I bought another skein from her recently. This is her label, and the colorway is Sketchbook. And that is just so amazing. I love it. I love it. And the video doesn't even do it justice. It's like there are just so many gorgeous colors of speckle in this, and it's that same base, so it's 75-25, and there's 463 yards in her skeins. So anyway, finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is my Lucky Charm shawl. And I'm really excited about this being done because this took 2 months to make. It's insane. It's insane. Why did it take me that long? I don't know. Other than the fact that I was working on several other things all at the same time. But whatever. As you can see, it's enormous and gorgeous. This yarn is Tusken Knits. And actually, the majority of the shawl was done in her fur base, which is a single ply. Look at those slip stitches. And the color of this is just right up my alley. I love it. So singles base, I used 2 skeins of it. But to finish the shawl off, I don't know why I didn't just ask her to. At the time that I needed it, she didn't have any more of this is the Har colorway, by the way. She didn't have any more of her fur base in that colorway. But she did have another one on the same colorway, but on her fuzz base. So I went ahead and ordered 1 skein of it. And initially when I started working with it, I could see a difference. It's just not as beefy as the single ply is. It's not as lofty. But I decided just to continue and go with it. And you can't even tell. Like, the color is exact. So when you're looking at this is the arrows section on the edge of the shawl. This is the fur base. This is the fuzz base from like the middle of this stockinette section to the end. So you can kind of see it's just not as lofty, but not enough of a difference to bother me. I also used the fuzz base for the tassels, and I made these using my loom tool, which I'll throw in a picture here so you can see what that looks like. Super easy. I followed their instructions on how to make the tassels, and voila! Yay! Done! It's epic, and I can't wait to wear it to Rhinebeck, especially to the Indie Untangled show, to show Maria how amazing her yarn is in this. I forgot to mention, this shawl is the Lucky Charm shawl by Melody Hoffman, and I would say it's a medium. I think I really had to pay attention to this. It was not too bad through here, but these arrows, I needed to pay attention, and it was really easy to get off track. And actually there are a couple of mistakes, but not that I would even be able to point out to you. It just seemed like my stitch count was never on. It was never right, and so I just felt like I had to read my knitting through this whole section. I mean, not the stockinette sections, but just the arrows. I had to really read where the slip stitches were happening so that the arrows were lined up correctly. But anyway, that's all I have to say about the pattern. Melody talks about how it was just a really fast knit for her. And I don't know if she's a continental knitter or an English knitter, but I'm an English knitter, and I felt like this took me an extra long time. But it's done. So, moving right along. It's done. I haven't been able to wear it yet because it's 80 degrees here still. But I am looking forward to wearing this like I said, next month to the Rhinebeck show. Done. The next section I'm going to talk about are my works in progress. I will show you my progress on my Clark socks. The Clark socks are Jaclyn Salem's first patterned socks pattern. I'm using Malabrigo yarn, and I have the heel done, and I'm working my way to the toe. I have about a ½ inch to an inch left before I start the toe. The pattern's gorgeous. I talked about these a lot in my last episode, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this. But hey, there's that pearl ridge. I wonder where I got that idea from. I'm so dumb sometimes. So, anyway, this is a cable on the back. These are going to be so nice, and I've tried them on, and they fit so good. I need to go down in my stitch count. 64 stitches is not, it's too big. They're just a little roomy. I think maybe 60 stitches. The only problem with that is that for a vanilla sock, I like to use the 9-inch circulars, and I think in order to have like a comfy amount of stitches on those little needles, 64 is recommended, but maybe not. I mean, I know Jaclyn uses, I'll have to ask her. I know she uses the 9-inch circulars, and she does a 56 stitch sock, so she must not have too many problems with it. I don't know. Like I said, I'll have to ask her her opinion on that. I never talked about the needles that I'm knitting these socks on. I'm knitting them with 2 different needles, by the way. I'm not sure why. I think it's just because I don't have like sets of needles. These are US 1s. And these, they might be platinas. I don't really know. They're not Haya. They might be Addies. I don't really know though. They have a black cord, and it doesn't say on them what they are. I don't know. But this is a 32-inch cable. And I have 2 sets of these, but I was asked by Elise, whose podcast is My 2 Tips. She's going to be at Rhinebeck, and she's going to be helping in the Tusken Knits booth with me. That's so fun. I'm excited. Sorry I keep talking about it. That's probably going to annoy you after a while. I'm excited, so there it is. She asked me if she could have some stuff shipped to me so that I could bring it to Rhinebeck for her so she can avoid some shipping charges. So I said, of course. And she ended up giving me a needle, a circular needle. This is the one of the needles from the Chalgoo Twist sock needle set. And this is a size 1. And it's got that beautiful cable, that red lace cable. But this is thinner than the typical Chalgoo cable, and it's awesome. This is a 40-inch cable, which I actually prefer working with a longer cable. And these needles are wonderful. They are just perfect in every way. The only complaint I have about them is that I wish they were fixed. Only because it's really hard to get them nice and tight, even with the key and the rubbery twisty thing to help tighten them up. I had trouble tightening them up, and they do come unscrewed very easily. So, not cool. But I don't even know if they come in a fixed circular. I'll have to look that up and see. But anyway, those are my Clark socks. That colorway is Marte. Marte? I have no idea. Marte? I have no idea how to pronounce that, but the colors are perfect for fall, and I am calling these my Rhinebeck socks. Because, duh. Whip number 1. Whip number 2. I started another sweater. I know. I did not finish my cable sweater. It's still sitting on the couch in its project bag, and I just haven't really felt like working on it. I don't know. I don't know if it's the yarn. I don't know if it's the project, if it's the pattern. I mean, it's a lot of cables. It's like, it's not even hard. I mean, nothing about it is hard. And I really don't dislike it, working on it, but I'm just not working on it. So I started a new sweater while I was at my mom's last week. And I had favorited this sweater a while back on Ravelry. It's a paid for pattern. And the designer is Melissa Schaschwary. And I have no idea how to pronounce her last name, so I'm very sorry, Melissa. But I'm sure you're familiar with her patterns. I'm trying to find a picture of the dang thing. This is a poor picture because I'm running out of ink, but that's the, like, cowl neck line. I'll insert a picture here so that you can see what this looks like. It's a gorgeous worsted weight sweater with a lace panel on the front, and it's got a little bit of a detail up the backs of the spine, and I just love that neckline. And the ribbing on it is really awesome. Does it have a name? I'm not sure if the ribbing has like a specific name. Tweed rib, that's what it's called, tweed rib. And I got the bottom hem ribbing finished. And this is the yarn I'm using. This is Wool of the Andes by Knit Picks in the Seraphim colorway, so it's that nice dusty purple color. Oh, and I never showed this off. This is my little notions pouch by my friend Sandy of By the Lakeside. Check out her Etsy store, By the Lakeside. I'll put it here because I think it might be like Sandy by the Lakeside or something like that, but it's so cute. It's so cute. If you don't have one of her bags in your possession, you need to get one. And I need like one of her bigger project bags next. But this is just so cute. I just can't get enough of little houses. And the bicycle, oh my god, adorable. So here's the ribbing, and I know this doesn't look like much so far, but I just wanted to show you that rib. It was so easy to do and so much faster than regular ribbing. And I'm not going to go into details about how it's done because obviously it's a paid for pattern, but I have started, okay, so I did the rib on size 8 needles. And these are my Hiya Sharps interchangeables. However, that set that I have only goes up to a size 8. And the body of the sweater is done in a size 9. And then there is a section in the future of this sweater that is done on a 10.5, US 10.5. So I had to order some needles, and I ordered them directly from Hiya. And they're on their way already. It's like super fast shipping. So what happened was I ended up doing the first 2 rows of the body of the sweater before I realized that I should be doing it on a size 9. So when I get the new needles, I will go ahead and transfer that needle to this. and keep going. But I am super excited about the sweater. I hope it goes as fast as the ribbing did. But the lace panel is just so beautiful, and I'm looking forward to having that finished. Way, way, way down the road. It's gonna take a while, I know. Sweaters take a while. So that's whip number 2, and then whip number 3. I started this week. I posted on Instagram a couple of options of things I was thinking about working on. One of which was the Veronica sweater, or the Veronica cardigan. I'm going to knit that, and I am going to use the Wool of the Andes that I had bought for it. But I just wasn't feeling it. I also posted a shawl called the Branches and Leaves shawl, which is a beautiful brioche. I don't know what's the correct term? I don't know. But it's like a leaf pattern, beautiful. And I also posted a big worsted weight chunky shawl with a fringe edging, and one more. Well, anyway, everybody voted what they thought I should make, and it was an overwhelming response for the Branches and Leaves shawl. It's a pattern by Leela Frankcombe. Let's see if I have a picture here on the pattern. This isn't a very good picture, but you get the idea of what that looks like. It's really pretty. It's really, really pretty. And the pattern on the Ravelry page, like her main, like the main image is like this gorgeous colorway. I think her contrasting color was actually, I don't know which one was the main color, which one was the contrasting color, but the contrasting color was kind of like a burgundy, variegated burgundy, and then the front color of the leaves was like a seafoam green, and man, it is just gorgeous. Love it. Love that. However, I had to just go with what I have in stash because I seriously, guys, cannot buy any more yarn from now until Rhinebeck because I have been needing to cope lately with some stress, and the stress online shopping has become out of control. And you'll see that when I show you my acquisitions. So I ended up choosing two colors, two contrasting colors. This is Lorna's Laces, and it's the Solemate base, which is a sock yarn, and the colorway is called the L, and it's just this gorgeous, very like tonal plum color. That is my main color. Is it my main color or my contrasting color? Might be my contrasting color. I don't know. And then the other one I chose is this. Lovely. This looks so different in the skein, by the way, than it does all wound up. But this is House of a la Mode, and the colorway is called Summer Club. And I bought this several months ago. I saw it on Instagram and I just was in love with the colors. So that is like neon yellow and a coral. And it's really, really fantastic. And just reminds me of fall. I don't know about you, but... So here's what I have so far. I'm knitting these on my Tulip circular needles, my US 4s, and it's a bamboo needle. And I have 2 leaves done so far. So this brioche pattern is different than the other brioche patterns I've done till now, because I'm actually used to doing like a full row of all, like say a full row of BRK or brioche knits, and then you slide the needles, and then you're doing the brioche pearls. This, you're doing the brioche knits and the brioche pearls together on one row, on each row. So it's requiring a lot of attention. And I have messed up a little bit, but I was able to fix it. Thank God. Thank God. I was so stressed out about that. It happened around this area. This is the back side. Very fun. Very fun. I am loving this color. It's going to be so cool. And oh, brioche, how I've missed you. Even though it's a little bit more complicated than a normal like brioche ribbing, I guess you could call it. This is more of a lace pattern. It's still so fun and manageable at this point because the rows aren't too long yet, but I'm hoping that it becomes a little bit more intuitive as I go. As of right now, I tend not to look enough at what I'm knitting, and so I'm having to really follow the instructions closely so that I don't do the wrong thing on the wrong side. And I just haven't been able to really read my knitting yet as of now. But I'm hoping when it gets bigger, I will, once you do something over and over and over, it kind of becomes ingrained in your head, and it's a little bit easier to, like I said, anticipate what's coming next. So, fun pattern. If you're interested in knitting this one, I recommend it. I'm keeping this in my little Danica studio bag that I got on knitpicks.com. It's so cute. So those are my works in progress, and now on to my acquisitions. The first thing I want to show you is a book I just got. This is the brand new By Hand Making Communities issue 4. This is number 4, Lookbook, Puget Sound. I love this magazine. It is so fantastic. And in this issue, I was most excited about Yoth yarn they talk about. Also, there's some tidbits about that Seattle area and Bainbridge Island, which I need to go there like ASAP. It's gorgeous. And Tolt Yarn and Wool is in here also featured, which is kind of funny since that's where I bought it. I've never placed an order from Tolt Wool. I don't know, is it Tolt Wool and Yarn or Wool and, I don't know, but it came and it was like packaged up so beautifully. My gosh. Anyway, I recommend this magazine. If you haven't seen it yet, get yourself a copy. This, like I said, this is number 4, so there's 3 before it. They have lots of great plans on upcoming issues for the different communities around the country, such as Lake Michigan, North Carolina, British Columbia, Rocky Mountains, Hudson Valley, Northern California. And it has info in the back. If you know of a company that you think should be featured, you should email them that. So, this is just, it's $23. It's a book. I mean, there are knitting projects in here, like this beautiful poncho, and there's recipes, spin cycle yarns, There's a hat pattern in this one. Anyway, really, really cool. So I did mention how I had bought yarn, so I don't have to show you that again, but that's my Barnyard knits. I also placed an order at Amy's recent shop update where she opened up her new online store, and I wanted to show my support because her website is beautiful. So I ended up buying 3 skeins. I got a skein of Paradise, which is her 80-10-10 cashmere in Vintage Christmas. She nailed it. She nailed it. I mean, that's Vintage Christmas. It's kind of a pale mint color. I could probably knit something for Candace's mint along. She's doing a new cal, I think starting on October. I also got a skein of Fjord, which is her 80-20 BFL nylon fingering weight in Balloon. Beautiful pale yellows and pinks and mint. And then another skein of Fjord, and this is the Meddlesome colorway, which is much different than I thought it was going to be in person, but it is lovely and so outside my comfort zone. But I think it'll be a really, really fun pair of socks. So I'm looking forward to knitting those up. I also wanted to get another skein of Malabrigo sock yarn just because I'm really enjoying the sock yarn I'm using for my Clark socks. So I have been swooning over the Anniversario colorway, and so I found a skein of that online and went ahead and ordered it. That's gonna be fun. Socks. I also, when I ordered the By Hand magazine, you can't buy a magazine and not buy yarn. And I talked a little bit about the yarn that my sister had gifted me from Iceland when she went. She bought me some Let Lopi in a like real dark hunter green and a dark burgundy. And they're, although beautiful together, I feel like they would be best suited in a pair of mittens, colorwork mittens, but I needed a light color to pair with them. So I ended up ordering this, 2 skeins of this Let Lopi, and the color, it's kind of an oatmeal color. I don't know if it has like a color name. But it is an Aran weight yarn. And I think that'll look nice. I'm sorry I didn't bring down the other ones that she had given me so then you can see them all together. But I think it's going to be a nice pairing. And then finally, I ordered a couple of things recently from Tusken Knits because she's amazing and literally want every single thing she puts out. Everything. Everything. It's all beautiful. So I love this color so much, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this yet, but this is on her fuzz base because after knitting it into my shawl, you guys, it is really, really unique yarn. It's got a beautiful fuzz to it, but you can just tell it is so strong. It's like, it doesn't have a lot of stretch, but it's just beautiful. It's 55% superwash merino, 20% kid mohair, and 25% nylon. And the colorway is Yours Forever. And I made a joke on her Instagram, and I said, that's going to be mine forever. And it's just like this gorgeous, like mauve and plum colors with teal. Outstanding. It is just outstanding. You have to order some of her yarn. Go now. TuskenKnits.com. I also bought a couple of skeins of her Fife base, which is 100% superwash merino, And I chose this color because, like I said, it's out of my comfort zone, but I just love it. This is called Buffalo Gals. Isn't that pretty? I love that dark burgundy red. And I bought 2 skeins because I think that this is going to be a shawl of some sort. So I am still on the hunt for a pattern for this, but I'm excited. So those are my acquisitions. Moving right along to life stuff. As you can see, I cut my hair yesterday. I'm sorry if I'm fussing with it too much. I'm trying to get used to it because it's, you know, I have to style it now instead of just throwing it up in a ponytail. But I love this hairstyle, and I've had it before. It's been a long time since I've had it. So I feel relieved to have it back. And I probably should have done it at the beginning of the summer so that I didn't have to deal with all that hair all summer long. But, yeah, love it. I mentioned earlier that I went to see my mom last week. My mother recently had open heart surgery. It was unexpected. She went in for a regular visit and for another issue, and they ended up doing some blood work and found out that she has a leaky heart valve, which is something she kind of knew about. She has a heart murmur and has had it since she was a baby. But they also did a heart catheterization and found out she had a blockage. So they had to put in a pig valve and also a bypass using a vein from her leg. And she is recovering now, and I went down to help her out for a few days. And as you would guess, someone's whose mother is extremely independent and very active, this has been very hard on her, and it's she's pretty down in the dumps. So I been doing everything I can to kind of keep her spirits up and make her realize that it's going to be a long recovery and she's going to have to just take it day by day. And so anyway, I've been kind of dealing with that. And then my show schedule recently has changed. I just did a show 2 weekends ago. And it's a show that I've been doing for several years, but this year was kind of a bust. And I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why. I think it had to do with the date they chose. Usually it's later in the month of September, and this year it was at the beginning of September. And I just feel like it's maybe too soon for people to start thinking about Christmas shopping. And anyway, attendance was really yuck. So because of that, I decided to do a couple of other shows that have just kind of popped up and landed in my lap. The first of which is happening next weekend in Cooperstown, New York, called Cooptoberfest. So it's basically a beer festival, and they have crafter vendors that's set up in town. It's outside. So I'm going to go ahead and have a booth there. And then also, I was at Hobby Lobby one day and was chatting up the girl that was checking me out at the cashier. And she's actually a cheerleader, a local cheerleader. And she and I were chatting, and she said, "Oh, you do craft shows?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, we're going to be doing a craft show. Can I have my coach contact you?" And I said, "Sure." So I gave her my business card, and the coach contacted me. For $20, I can have a table. It's inside. It's in the middle school. And it's their first annual craft show. So that's going to be coming up in November on the 11th. So looking forward to both of those shows. I think they're going to be smaller, but who knows? Maybe lucrative. You never know. You just never know. Got to do it and see. And they're also only one day, which is easier. So that's on my agenda. I am going to have to really get serious starting today doing some show prep for that. I want to make a bajillion pairs of earrings because I feel like earrings sell the best for me at craft shows. I find that people like to go to craft shows, but they like to buy little bits from several makers instead of just blowing their whole budget on one piece from one maker. So that's definitely my pro tip if you're interested in doing craft shows. I mean, jewelry is a little bit different, but the people definitely like a lower price pointed item this time of year and in this economy. So that being said, I've obviously talked before to you guys about how my business is doing, my jewelry business. I feel like it's floundering a little bit. And I'm constantly trying to think of ways to revitalize it. But I've come to realize that it's not that easy. So I have some ideas floating around in my head. And I'm not going to talk too much about this because I'm still hammering it all out in my brain, how it would work. But you know those paint and sip parties? I'm thinking about doing that, but with jewelry instead. So instead of you and your friends going to a place, one of the people would host it at their house and I would come in and teach you how to make a piece of jewelry. And you, all you would have to buy from me was a small kit and with everything you need for that particular piece of jewelry, and then you walk away with a finished piece you can gift or keep for yourself or whatever. So that's the basic idea of it. I don't have a name for it yet. That's the next thing I have to come up with, but I've been jotting down notes and talking to my friends about brainstorming different ideas, and so that's something I'm thinking about doing for the winter. And now I have to go because it's been almost 50 minutes and this is going to take forever to upload to YouTube. Why it takes so much longer from a 35-minute podcast versus a 50-minute podcast, I will never know, but it's significant. So I am going to sign off. Thank you again so much for coming over and checking out what I've been working on. It's always a pleasure to sit down and share things with you guys and show you what I'm currently knitting. And I hope you guys have a great week and that you are knitting away on all of your favorite things and using yarns that make you happy. So again, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.